few months ago, a man that I graduated high school with, he posted in the Facebook group that's for our graduating class. Many of you are part of those same kind of groups. They stay pretty much dormant, and then about once every 10 years they go crazy, and then they disappear again. Well, he posted on there, apparently he must have been in a reminiscing mood or something, because he posted on there a couple of videos from YouTube, from songs that were popular in those days, and songs that kind of connected with him when we were all in high school. And he made some comment about kind of wishing for those simpler days to be here again, and remembering those songs, you know. And I watched those videos. And I watched them, and of course, it was an era of really big hair and tight pants and boots and whatever. And so the giant arena rock bands, as they call them, and it did cause me to kind of begin to think and to wonder and to think about the music that I remember from my days of high school. And so I began to create, just for my own curiosity, a playlist on YouTube. It's a private playlist, and no, I'm not going to share it. Of songs that I remember from that time. Some of the songs are ones that were connected with me, and other ones are ones that were just popular in that time. And I first began with just kind of what are the songs that come to mind, trying to remember that time, and then I started to kind of search a little bit about what were the top songs and such. And so, you know, it's an eclectic mix of weird things. There's songs from Steve Curtis Chapman and Brian Duncan and David Meese, and then there's Billy Ray Cyrus's most famous song. Do you know what that one is? I'll test you. Achy Breaky Heart. Yes, I don't endorse everything on there, but you know there's a weird mix of things on there, and those were the era of country music was big. So there's George Strait, and there's that really big guy that can't remember anymore, who's married to Trisha Yearwood, but we don't worry about him anymore. Garth Brooks, and so different artists and such on there, and I began to look at those songs, and it struck me. Some of the songs were ones that if I hadn't looked them up, I would have never really remembered them at all from that era. And yet there were other songs that still kind of connect. And as soon as you get those first few words, the whole song gets stuck in your head. And sometimes you have some of those songs stuck throughout the day, and you're like, why me? But I began to think about the types of songs that connected and the types of songs that were ones, and I realized looking through this collection of music, the songs that connected most were the songs that told a story. And so rather than the songs that were simply about ideas or concepts, but they were songs that sort of walked through a story. And so, and I think it's partly why that horrid Christmas song, Christmas Shoes, still connects with and keeps getting played. Even though it's a song about a young child who schemes and connives to manipulate and using a false story of his mother dying to be able to get shoes that he's going to hawk and get some money, we still listen to it. It's a classic Christmas themes, right? But we still listen to it because it tells the story. It sort of tugs at the heartstrings, and we could see ourselves all being scammed as well at the store by a kid telling a story, right? It just happens to us, especially around the Christmas season. And so those songs that sort of follow along those stories were the ones that I most connected to. And so I began to think, if we were to write songs for today, and songs that describe the last few years, what songs would we write? What stories would we tell? What themes would we have? I'm actually just going to open that one up. And if you think about the last few years of your life, what songs might you tell and sing? Or, the songs of destruction and demolition and, rising from the ashes. No ashes yet. That's why you have the power turned off. So, yeah. COVID, yeah. How put COVID instead of the YMCA song. It's the COVID song. So, what other themes would you say for these last few years? Parenting, yeah. The wonder. Indecision. A lot of us might sing songs of lament. kind of grieving, songs of loss. Some of us might have songs of hope, new opportunities. The golden years. Right. Get ready. Yeah. It's kind of a songs of transition. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think for a lot of us, that's what is so powerful about music, is it has that ability to give word to what we are experiencing and what we are feeling. And it defines us. And sometimes those songs that we sing and they connect with us, they can be songs that it's fascinating to me that if I can listen to the radio, and if a certain song I can be in a great mood and a certain song comes on and suddenly I'm kind of manic depressive. But then there's other times a song will come on and all of a sudden it's like the world is perfect and singing a song. Our world needs a new song. When God created this world, He created it and He sang a song of beauty and wonder. Adam and Eve walked and talked with God. They were in perfect relationship with Him. They lived in harmony with creation. There was work, but work was not this drudgery. Work was an expression of God, of their identity before God and how God had created them. And all of creation sang a song of the glory of God. We sometimes picture the image of God when He creates and He speaks and He says, "Let there be light." And we sort of get this image of a booming voice. But you ever thought about what if God sang those words? What if He sang out over creation and infused that song of His grace into creation? And all of creation declared the glory of God, not because the mountains had words or the birds they may have sing, but they didn't have words, but simply by their being. They sang a song that declared the glory of God. But we sang a different song. Humanity sang a song, not of community and relationship. We sang a song, not of beauty and wonder and mystery. We sang a song of selfishness and pride. We sang our own song, and we have been doing it ever since. We no longer sing God's song. And we need a new song. Psalm 98 begins with these words, "Sing to the Lord a new song. For He has done marvelous things. His right hand and His holy arm have worked salvation for Him. The Lord has made His salvation known and revealed His righteousness to the nations. He has remembered His love and His faithfulness to Israel. All the ends of the earth have seen the salvation of God." Well, written long before the birth of Christ, the Psalm 98 is often associated and connected with the birth of Christ. It's a song sung and declared frequently on Christmas Day. That God has started to sing a new song. And becomes sort of the words. We'd imagine the angels not only singing glory to God in the highest, but they sing this new song that God has declared. A song of the salvation to the nations. They have waited a long, long time. In a few weeks, we enter into the season of Advent, a season of longing and looking forward to, waiting and wondering, when is that new song going to be sung? When will there finally be redemption? They have waited and they have longed. And God, in His mercy and His grace, has worked. He has sang a different song over the top of all of creation, and He has led all of creation to the point of Christ's birth. The prophet Isaiah would recognize and see that not only is this song sung for the people of God, this is a song sung to the nations. He says, He has come, He recognizes that His people, He says, they have come that they might be a light to the Gentiles and salvation that reaches to the ends of the earth. It's time for a new song. When God called His people, He called them. When He called Abraham, He didn't call Abraham simply because of Abraham. He didn't call him simply to bless him as a father of people, or even to bless the people of Israel and the descendants of him. He called Abraham that he might be a blessing, that all the world might be blessed through him. He sang a song through Abraham that blessing might come to the nations. and the nations long and they look for the redemption and the salvation of God. In Zephaniah chapter 3 that I read at the beginning, it is a story of punishment. It begins with this punishment, this darkness. We hear not only of the cities, the surrounding cities that have turned away from God, but there's this little glimmer of hope, but maybe Jerusalem will be something different. Maybe my people will still be that light, but he says it's not to be. They continue to sing the song of selfishness. And yet God comes. And he says he sings over them. And there is this switch, there is this transformation of hope. There is this looking forward to. And so he says in verse 4 of Psalm 98, he says, "Shout for the joy to the Lord, all the earth. Burst in jubilant song with music. Make music to the Lord with the harp and the sound of singing, with trumpets and the blast of the ram's horn. Shout for joy, all the Lord the King. All of the nations will celebrate and rejoice." Not simply God's people in this defined era, but all the nations will rejoice that God has come. And they will sing this song, and we look forward to it. It says, "All of earth rejoices with jubilant music. No longer will there be in our world oppression, racism, hatred, poverty, injustice, nationalism, and all the other isms. The world will be set free, and the world will burst forth into song." We know that each of us have certain songs that connect with us and the certain tones and types of music that we listen to. But we also know that there are other people in the world that listen to different types of music and they have different sounds in their songs. Middle Eastern music from parts of Asia have a different sound, sometimes a tinny sound or something different. In my less mature days, I had a coworker who could not stand the sounds of Middle Eastern music and music from Asia. And it was like fingers on a chalkboard. So you know what kind of music I listened to while I worked? Yes, it wasn't my most mature moment. But you can imagine here as the psalmist declares God singing as he sings this new song, it is this amazing ability of God to join together the instruments, the sounds, the shouts, the rejoicing of all of the nations. Those tones and those sounds. The ability to compose this great symphony that draws together all those different sounds of the nations and the world together into one song. This is the song that we look forward to when we sing a new song. But it's not just people and humanity that rejoice. Because Psalm 98 says, it goes on, he says, "Let the sea resound and everything in it, the world and all who live in it. Let the rivers clap their hands, let the mountains sing together for joy. Let them sing before the Lord, for he comes to judge the earth." All of creation rejoices as well and joins into this song. It's not just humanity. And in that day, when the new song is sung, there will no longer be water that is polluted. No longer landscapes stripped and scarred. No longer chemicals dumped into the ground. No longer habitats destroyed. No longer entire species gone extinct. Creation waits in anticipation, longing for when Christ will come. And it sings a song anticipating of his coming. And just by its being, it sings a song and it creates this low hum of music. Well, the last couple months I've been a part of dragging speakers for the marching band. But one of the things that I observed in the marching band performances is each of those bands, when they come on stage, they have the show, but they also have the pre-show. For Galesburg, it's convenient. Silas is actually wearing his marching band shirt. This wasn't planned. But the pre-show, for Galesburg was a recorded song. And other bands have their pre-show music, and it kind of sets the stage, and there's some movements. But it's not the show. And when the time comes, the band goes. There is this blast. Today, the song that we hear sung is the pre-show. Creation declares it. God's people sing that pre-show song. We engage, we participate in God's kingdom. We seek to be people of reconciliation. We seek to care for God's creation and all of the earth. We respect our environment. We show love to our neighbor. It is not the song. It's not the show, it's the pre-show. But in that hum, we hear, and we get a sense of what is to come. We know what kind of show this is going to be. And we wait with all of the nations, we wait with all of creation for that moment when Christ will come again. And we will hear the song, and the new song that will be sung. The psalmist ends with these words. He says, when Christ comes again, when this new song is sung, he said, he will judge the world in righteousness and the people with equity. I don't know about you, but my first reaction to hear that he will come to judge is like, whoa, wait a minute. We had a great thing going there until none of us want to judge. None of us want to experience judgment. But think about what a judge does. A judge that we know there's corruption, but a judge that truly seeks to carry out their task. What are they seeking to do? They're seeking to somehow, within a broken system and a broken world, to somehow make things right. Somehow to fix. And while they can't bring another person back, they seek maybe in their sentences to somehow try to reconcile, to somehow kind of fix and resolve things. To bring justice, to bring righteousness in the midst of broken systems and broken people. To heal, to make new, to try to some way to restore in their weak capacity. Creation looks forward to the coming of Christ, and we look forward and we desire his judgment. Because his judgment does what no earthly judge can do. He can restore that which is broken. He can bring to life that which is dead. He can reconcile the impossible. To a creation polluted and broken, to people living in poverty and injustice, he can make things new. He can return things back to the perfection of his creation as he judges this world with righteousness and with equity. We need a new song. We need to sing a new song to this world, a song of hope, anticipation. Isaac Watts would read Psalm 98, and he'd realize that it is a song not only of hope, but it is a song of Christmas, written by that. And he would write a song about this psalm, using this psalm, a song of all of creation rejoicing and celebrating with joy that Christ has come to this world. And he has redeemed, he has restored, and he's made things new. It's the song we sing as joy to the world. And so today, as we close this and prepare ourselves to receive communion and God's grace again, I invite you to sing with me Isaac Watts' song, a song that is part of that low hum, that pre-show. For we know there is a new song that will be sung, and all things will be made new.